Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, X-Wing players, and anyone who is potentially interested in X-Wing. Welcome to our channel. My call sign is BatMando. If you are new to this game, this is the channel to watch. And if you are getting back into 2.5, then this is the place to be. This is a channel that is dedicated to pilots and boosting pilot skills. So welcome to our X-Wing community. If you are new to the channel, we welcome you as well. I would like to think that our community, for the most part, welcomes and mentors new players into our game and into our community. But you should know that there are different parts of the community that still play a different version of the game, referred to as 2.0 Legacy. Some of those players have started to come back into what is now referred to as 2.5. and this video is mostly to help them. We are happy to have you come back and join us as we spring forward into 2.5. So thank you for watching this video as we tackle a question that I hear quite a lot, and that is, what are the major changes in 2.5? So before I reveal all of the major changes, I think I should say that there are more than just what will be mentioned in this video. However, the key changes are loadout, road, scenarios, list building, new objects, score and strategy, and themed scenarios. So the first place to start with loadout is to ask the question, what are lists carrying today? So first things first, let's talk about two types of costs here. So now lists are now maxed out at 20 points. Now, if you are playing 2.0 Legacy, you may be asking, how did we go from 200 points to 20 points? Well, with the new point system, there was a focus on ship costs, which were mostly pilot costs. So in other words, like if Poe is flying a T-70 versus Jessica Pava flying one, then there's going to be a difference in cost. So, or if there was Han Solo flying the Falcon versus Rey flying the Falcon, there's going to be a change in cost because of the pilot experience and pilot ability. So, in which case, they decided to focus on ship costs, and then and those ship costs do not count, or that they count towards the 20 points. What does not count towards the 20 points are the supply points or the loadout for your ship. In other words, what slots you have available, such as torpedoes, talent, any modifications, any illicit slots, technology, various other things that can be found in the loadout of a ship. So you cannot exceed the limit of that. So for instance, let's just go ahead and say that you go ahead and get Luke as a pilot card, and he has a outrageous loadout amount. I want to say it's like close to 20. So, and of course, by the time this video is made, it may be completely different because they do have point updates in which they switch the loadout. So now, the next thing we need to discuss is title, because some of the ships come with titles, but not every pilot can fly with that title. For instance, Moldy Crow. So specifically amongst the scum pilots, there are some pilots that cannot use the title of Moldy Crow for the Hawk 290. So as you begin building your scum list with this ship in it, you may discover that it does not have the title slot for specific scum pilots. You can still put it on Paylob, but you cannot put it on some of the other pilots that are scum in the Hawk 290. So therefore, if the slot is not available, you may not attach it to the pilot like you were able to in 2.0 Legacy. Not all ships get the same weapon upgrades. You have some ships that are limited in ordnance of what kind they can take. Some ships can take missiles, some can take torpedoes, and some can take bombs, while others cannot. And as far as I am aware, there is no way to modify a ship to take ordnance that it doesn't normally take, with the exception of, say, a hardpoint, which you can find on the M3A interceptor in the scum ships, so also known as the Skix. All right, next thing, we do have slots can change even on the same type of ship, such as the hyenas, ladies and gentlemen. And from pilot to pilot, the hyenas, specifically in the Separatist faction, you have some ships that can take bombs as a hyena, and then you have other hyenas. Excuse me. You have other hyenas that can't take bombs because, well, they're a torpedo ship and they can take torpedoes while the other ones can take bombs. And there you have it. So each of the hyenas are built for a specific purpose. And and that's basically everything that you have there. Next, named pilots are more cost effective. So the other day I was building a list involving some T-65s, and I discovered that the cost of a generic ship with less loadout, for the record, costed more than a named pilot that had more loadout. So generics are not in meta, and I think we're going to see that they are trying to highlight heroes and hero personalities more than just the generic ship on the playmat. So that's everything that you need to know basically about some of the lists. Now, there are also the addition of 2.5 bring in the addition of standard loadout cards. These come in the starter packs along with some of the themed scenario packs, and here are two examples for the same pilot but from different packs. You can see that the designers went ahead and gave what I refer to as a package deal to the pilot and the ship that normally would cost more to build with the pilot cards and the upgrades. So standard loadout cards may cost like one less point than the actual pilot card, but you are not allowed to modify them in your list. So it's a package deal. If you choose to use Battle of Yavin Vader, then you can't add on any missiles or torpedoes or anything onto him because that's the way he was built in that standard loadout. Now, you can also see that there's going to be a difference between one standard loadout to the next. They seem like small differences, but they can pack quite a different punch, such as the pilot ability for Yavin Vader allows you to spend a force to change one blank result to a hit. And then, of course, advanced targeting computer would allow you to change that hit, possibly even to a crit. So now, as opposed to when you look at Starter Pack Vader on the right, you can see that after you perform an action, you may spend a force to perform an action. So you're basically getting two actions out of Starter Pack Vader, as opposed to the best that you can do with Battle of Yavin Vader. Go ahead and use the free afterburners for a free action. And you only get to do that twice because of the charge, though. Once you spend that charge, the charge is gone, and if you spend both of them, then you no longer have afterburners. So you get the boost action for free. Then you can throw on a focus and then roll it into or link it into a barrel roll, and that's the maximum 3 actions that you can get out of Battle of Yavin Vader. Whereas opposed to Starter Pack Vader, go ahead and use the afterburners for free. Then go ahead and take a target lock, spend a force, get a focus, and even link it into a barrel roll. Granted, you're stressed, but you got more action economy for what you were going with. All right. Now, that's basically what you're going to see with standard loadout cards. So now we move on to ROAD, which is an acronym for roll off after dials. So initiative is changed from 2.0 to 2.5. This is the new initiative. So instead of someone coming in with 197 out of 200 points and claiming initiative, you now roll 3 attack dice for the result to see who gets initiative for that round. So after the planning phase, when all dials are down, you roll 3 attack dice, and whoever has the higher results wins the initiative. So that is what you get for that coming rounds, because at the end of the next planning phase, again, all dials are down, and you are going to roll to find out who has the higher roll. So crits outrank everything. So crits rank higher than focus and hits. If you have 1 crit and your opponent has, like, say, 3 hits, you get initiative. It doesn't matter about the quantity, it matters about the symbol. So in which case, crits rank higher than focus, focus ranks higher than hits, and of course, hits rank higher than blanks. So let's go ahead and say that you roll 1 crit and 2 blanks, and then your opponent rolls 2 focus and 1 hit. The crit still wins. So even though that doesn't exactly seem like it's fair, it kind of just goes with the number of crits on an attack die versus all the other symbols. Okay, so now, a source of contention amongst the 2.0 legacy players is that 2.5 introduced scenario play. Some of the veteran players preferred old dogfight style of play where the only way to win was to eliminate your opponent's ships. Now there are 4 different scenarios, which we will be covering 1 scenario per video in April. And as soon as we get those recorded, we'll be sending them out. So, but the scenarios are as followed. The first one being assault at the satellite array, then chance engagement, then salvage mission, and then you have scramble the transmissions. Now, assault at the satellite array is essentially king of the hill with X-wing ships. If you have more ships than your opponents within range 0 to 1 of that marker, you get a point or a victory point at the end of that round. Chance engagements is more for 2.0 legacy because it's very much like a dogfight that has to stay within range 0 to 2 of the center marker. And if you both, as in you and your opponent, have ships within that range, you both get a victory point at the end of the round. However, if you are outside of that range 2 of the center marker, that is, then your opponent gets 2 points while you get nothing for that round. Then you have salvage mission, where you are picking up crates, and if you hold on to that crate to the end of the round, you get a victory point. But if your ship is hit with a crit, then it loses that crate, and another ship can pick it up within that next round. So you want to hold on to the crates. More crates you have, more points you get, etc., etc. Last, you have scramble the transmissions. You spend an action to claim a satellite. Then for every satellite that you have claimed at the end of the round, you receive a victory point. I go into more depth on all these when we do the scenario videos, which will be released in April. All right. Now, what do they have in common? Well, it's mostly about the objectives and the victory points. Now, I go into more depth on this slide in a different video, so please click the card here and you will hear more about it and a little bit more information that went into this. So, but again, everything that these have in common are objectives, and that means you have multiple objectives with the exception of chance engagements, all spread over the mat. So you got 3 to 5 markers in most cases, and you have 3 to 5 bases to cover. So in which case you have 2 choices at that point in time, and your first choice is to go after the objectives, or the second choice, which is making me chuckle right now, is you go after the opponent's ships that are going after the objectives. So instead of you trying to grab the objectives, you're waiting for them to go towards it, and then you go ahead and form a kill box and kill the ship and get points that way. So either works. You can get the objectives and get victory points, or you can shoot your opponent's ships and get victory points. Now, which brings me to the next point of your list needs to allow for flexibility. Flexibility in speed, in maneuverability, and also firepower and evasive capability, because it's no longer a game where you can just build an alpha strike list. So, which kind of takes us to the next slide, referring to as SWOT analysis, where you have to examine your list for its strengths, its weaknesses, its opportunities, and its threats. Again, check out the other video and I go into more depth on this. So we very much appreciate you watching up to this point, but we need to go on so that we can cover some of the other things. So let's talk about new objects. Now, obstacles are referred to or considered as objects now. Some of them have new looks, by the way, especially if you get the Pride of Mandalore kit. They have new rocks and debris clouds, so be on the lookout for that. They also have new rules in 2.5. You don't want to run into them like they used to because they can damage you. So, asteroids, if you land on them, you automatically get one hit, as in one damage, and then you roll for another. And yes, I believe a crit can happen. So, and then you have the debris clouds, and you, as soon as you roll over one with a template or your ship base is on it, then you gain one stress and then you roll for damage again. Then you have the gas cloud, which automatically gives you a strain. And for those of you who are just like, wait, what's a strain? Strain is where you reduce your number of green die by 1. Then if you go through a gas cloud, all your locks are lost. In other words, the locks that you had on somebody else, they're gone. The locks that somebody had on you, they're also gone. And then you roll an attack die to see if you get ioned. And if you roll a hit, just one normal ion token. If you roll a crit, you get 3 ion tokens, which is not good for your medium and large bases. All right. Then, if you land on an obstacle, your base is still on it, you can no longer shoot from that obstacle unless, say, you're a vulture droid or hyena. So there you have that. Let's see here. Now, there are also temporary obstacles that do include the blaze from a blazer bomb, the electro chaff clouds. You also have loose cargo and spare parts, which kind of basically operate like a debris cloud. So in which case, those are things that come out during gameplay. Of course, if you happen to have a seismic charge, then there are ways to make any of these obstacles go away. Blazer bomb will go away on itself, and so does the electro chaff cloud. So there you have it. All right. Now, objects are also being introduced, such as the Mandalorian Super Commandos, and basically they're so I don't want to compare them to the buzz droids because once the buzz droids attach, they stay on that ship. The Super Commandos can move around kind of like the Dark One probe droids, except that they can actually do 2 attacks and they can also strain your ship just by having you fly over it. So watch out for those. And then, of course, we also have the sensor buoys from the First Order, and they do different things as well. So these are some of the new things that you see as new objects in 2.5. So now we have to go ahead and change on over to score and strategy. Now, this is not new. You still need to have 20 points to win. And then instead of just killing your opponent ships, you can actually get victory points through scenario. So grab those objectives and rack up some points. Then if you are not playing a timed game, which is what you normally find in competition, then you have 12 rounds max, and whoever plays or has that many points or more points than the other wins that game. I'm going to tell you that normally you don't see a game go to 12 rounds. It's normally done by, say, like round 5 or 6 at that point in time. So in which case, there it is. Our next thing that we need to discuss is that each scenario has its own challenges, because when you have 5 different markers spread around, then it's kind of hard to cover all of those 5 bases. Or if you're picking up one of those markers and then it gets dropped somewhere else, then that's a different challenge in itself. All right. So essentially what we're kind of getting at is that you're looking at a change in play style. You have to be flexible with it because it is no longer a game about alpha strikes and higher initiative pilots that can take down opponent ships with lower initiatives. Those lower initiative ships can now go around acting as essentially objective grabbers. They fly from one objective to another, like in Assault on the Satellite Array, and in which case they kind of, island hop from one marker to the next marker so that they can get those points, or they're claiming a satellite, or whatever the objective is. They're the ones that are going to grab those objectives while you're still trying to fly around and possibly kill them while they're still speeding off. It's like having a shuttle trying to chase down an A-wing. So now, in which case, the last addition to 2.5 are the themed scenario play packs. So there are now 3, and they include the Battle of Yavin, where you are trying to perform successfully the trench run attack before the rebel base gets destroyed by the Death Star. You also have the Invisible Hands featured in the Siege of Coruscant, where you have to take down all its shields to attempt a rescue to get Palpatine back. And if you don't do it by a certain round, then the Separatists automatically win. And then we are about to see the Battle of Endor being released very soon. So we'll get you more details about that when it is released, which by the time this video is being seen on YouTube, it will be released, and hopefully we will have more information for you on that. All right. So in which case, we're going to go on to our next slide, and please, ladies and gentlemen, help us out. We very much appreciate your support. Please click like on the videos that you like and let us know what videos that we need to be making more of. So let's see here. I'm also going to ask that you get the word out about us and get some of your friends to subscribe to our future transmissions. We very much appreciate your support, but we ask you to support us by clicking like on the videos that you want to see more of. Leave us some comments, tell your friends about us, and watch our weekly releases. And as always, with every video description, we leave you these links for online resources. And again, thank you for your support. Please follow us on Instagram. You can friend me on Facebook. Make certain that if you have any questions, drop them as a comment, or just tell us that we're doing a good job or a terrible job. Now, in which case, credits go to Slides Go, Flat Icon, and Free Pick for the use of their media in this presentation. And as always, BatMando out.